Macros, Mindset, and Muscles.
I'm Coach James.
And I'm Coach Brittany.
We're here to give you the truth about health and fitness.
No gimmicks, no bullshit, just facts.
Did I just hear footsteps behind me? That car's passed me twice. Are they following me? Is there something in the bushes? What if somebody jumps up at me? These are all thoughts that I have personally had as a female runner. And I know that many of you listening to this as female runners can probably relate. So, today's episode, we are going to talk about safety for female runners. Obviously, James is not a female runner.
I am not.
So he cannot offer individual experience here.
I'm here for support.
But his wife is a female runner. And
she's awesome.
He is very aware of his female runner when she is out. So we thought this would be a great episode coming into the cooler months. More people run when it's fall, spring, cooler temperatures. It's better for running. Running in the heat sucks. So let's get started.
Let's get it.
So those thoughts that I was talking about, like I said, those are all things that I have personally thought while I'm running. I'm always very paranoid and aware of things that are going on around me. Maybe even a little too aware because I tend to hear things that aren't really there sometimes. And that's just kind of the reality of what it's like being a woman and being out running. If you're aware. Anyways, there's people that are not aware.
The threat is real, so there is a chance of being hyper vigilant. I can see where that comes from.
Yeah. So, if you're aware of your surroundings, you're constantly assessing them. You're on high alert. Even when you're tired, you're thinking of the what ifs and what could happen. And that's not the case. Most men don't think about those things when they get out and go for a walk or go for a run. They just get out and go. Not that men aren't victims too, men are victims, but women tend to be targeted more because we're often viewed as the weaker sex and we're easier to target because our strength is less than that of a man. And again, there are, different, obviously that's not the case for every single woman. Every single woman is not going to be weaker than a man and vice versa, but we're not getting into that. We're speaking in general, most of the population type thing.
Yeah.
So, we're constantly as women thinking about the risk when we go running. So today we're going to talk about some things that you can carry with you to be safer and ways that you can actually, be safer without gear, just processes, thoughts, things like that.
Being prepared.
Exactly. So one of the things that is hard as a runner is obviously you want to carry as minimal amount of stuff as possible because everything weighs you down. It gets heavy. Things chafe, especially, if you're a bigger bodied runner, you're more likely to have chafing because things rub together. And this is me speaking as a thicker runner. So some of the things that I carry with me when I'm running solo. Now, I don't always carry this stuff with me if I'm running in groups or whatever because, safety in numbers. But some things that don't take up a lot of space, they don't weigh me down, and they give me something to work with in the event that I find myself being attacked or grabbed or anything like that. So first up is pepper spray. Mace, pepper spray, something like that. They make these in very portable containers these days. Super easy to carry. You have to be willing to use things that you carry. So if you're not willing to use them, don't carry them because it is something that could be used against you also. Yeah. I think that's an important thing to consider with all this. But pepper spray will be effective at least enough to temporarily
it'll put some space in between.
Yeah, it'll put some space. Okay. And then your adrenaline's going to kick in, which is your fight or flight. You're going to run away to safety before this person can get up,
Yeah. It can also be a deterrent too. So if you pulled it out and someone sees you pulling this out, they may change their mind on what they were about to do.
Possibly. Now with pepper spray, you obviously don't want to just spray aimlessly, right? You want to spray like right above, like on the eyebrows, so it drips into the eyes.
Yeah.
If you go below the eyes, like they're probably going to inhale it and it's going to suck a little bit, but they're just going to get pissed off and keep coming.
Keep coming at you.
So,
Go for the eyes.
make sure you go for the eyes and you use pepper spray to the best of your ability. Another thing, they make pepper spray for like animals and stuff like that. Being attacked by dogs is also a thing for runners. Male and female alike, dogs don't discriminate. They just know that they're territorial, and if they see somebody running, a lot of times they will perceive that as a threat. So, keep that in mind. Next up on our list of gear for women is going to be a go-guarded finger knife. So this is like a ring with a shank on the top of it. It's not finger shank. That's what I call it. So it goes on your finger, and it doesn't get in the way when you're running. It's just a ring on your finger with like a pointed serrated knife. It's maybe an inch and a half, maybe. It's not very big. It has a little rubber covering over the top of it. But in the event that somebody grabbed you from behind or something and you can't really do much, you could take your fist, you could take that finger and like drive it into their face or something.
Yeah. I like that though, because, in an emergency and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about dropping it. Like, it's not going to come off your hands. It's on your finger. Like, it's stuck there. So while you're fighting or doing, fighting for your life, it's going to be there. So your hands, you don't have to worry about dropping it.
Yeah, I like it. Again, one of those things like I've worn when I run by myself, and I'm like, okay, if somebody grabs me from behind, this is what I'm going to do. If somebody grabs me like this is what I'm going to do. Like, I play out all these scenarios, which is crappy that I have to do that, but it's the reality. I'm a morning runner, so in the event that I run alone, I'm running typically when it's darker out. I don't live in a bad part of town, but that doesn't matter because it can happen anywhere. We've seen instances of this all over the place. We have so many women that have been victims while running, just because they were running, wrong place, wrong time, whatever. A woman should be able to get out and run without having to fear for her life.
And runners are getting up early to run, and there's some bad people that are still out from the night before. They didn't just set an alarm to get up. Like, they've been out.
Yeah, well, and the thing is like, as women, right, we have so many responsibilities. And I'm not saying that men don't have responsibilities. So fellas, don't take it as me saying that, okay? Just as women, we get this small window of opportunity to take care of ourselves. And, that might look like going for a run at 4 a.m., just trying to get in your run before you have to get the kids up for school and make lunches and do the breakfast and get them ready and out the doors before you go to your full-time job. This was the case for the woman that went missing here in Memphis, Tennessee in 2022, Eliza Fletcher, right? She went out at 4 a.m. for a run. And this was just her 2-year anniversary just happened a few weeks ago.
She wasn't in an overly bad area,
She was just running.
At
4 a.m. And, she was abducted and she went missing, and there was a big search for her, and it was not a good outcome.
Yep.
I think this is when it really, like, I've always been an aware runner and I've always had things for my safety, but that one hit home hard because, one, it was in Memphis, and two, like, she's my age. So, it was just one of those things that, like, we're not immune to it. Like, it could happen to anybody. There was another woman that went for a run, on her college campus, a 22-year-old, Lakin Hope Riley. and she went missing and she was found dead. And that's just another, like, just people just going for runs, just women going for runs and, you know, getting attacked and abducted or whatever. You know, they never really say if these women had tools on them, you know, to help protect them. But I would imagine that if they did, like there would be more on the perpetrators.
Yeah.
So, moving on is a light up safety vest, a headlight, a vest, something you want reflective gear so that one, you're visible to traffic. And two, like you also have to be aware of traffic because even if you're wearing reflective clothing, light up vest, headlamp, whatever, people don't fucking pay attention today.
Yeah,
They're
like
always on their
texting.
phone, looking away, not paying attention. I can't tell you how many times I have almost been hit by a car not paying attention, even though I'm doing the right thing. I'm in the crosswalk, I'm waiting or, you know, doing what I'm supposed to do, and they're just not paying attention. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, my running partner and I, we were running in the morning. It wasn't dark, it was sunny out. And we were in the crosswalk well before this car ever got near the stop sign. And this car just kept going and came within inches of hitting my running partner. So, you know, this stuff happens and it's something that you have to be aware of. Like, you have to be visible, even though it doesn't make a freaking difference sometimes. But if you weren't visible, it would make less of a difference. Another thing, you know, when you're out running or walking, you got to be aware of your surroundings, and that includes being able to hear. If you're wearing big, bulky headphones, or even if you have like AirPods in your ears and you cannot hear what's going on around you, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's not smart at all, because if somebody really wanted to, they could sneak up on you. You would have no idea. You wouldn't have one of your senses to help you be aware of that.
I know there was a runner, gosh, this was years back, had to be at least over 10 years ago, and had bought new headphones. They were the in-ear noise canceling. He was out running and wasn't paying attention and was hit by a train. A train, like he was so not paying, he wasn't paying attention and he couldn't hear anything and totally missed an entire train.
Well,
I
the
mean,
thing
like,
is,
you know what I mean? Like,
it's not even the craziest thing though, because trains actually aren't super loud now compared to how they used to be. I mean, obviously, if they're going through like an intersection, they're blaring the horns. Like, they have to legally do that. But you hear stories, you know, about people getting killed on train tracks all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's just being completely oblivious to your surroundings too, you know. Always look. So talking on headphones, there are so many options for bone conducting headphones these days, and they're a great option. We literally live in our aftershocks all day.
All day, every day.
I mean, it's like our Bluetooth headset. I don't even hold a phone to my ear anymore. I haven't in years.
Yeah, I won't do it, actually.
When I'm walking, when I'm running, like I have my bone conduction headphones on and I love it because I still can hear everything around me. And I can hear what I'm listening to, which is usually like a book lately. So, you know, they will help you be more aware of your surroundings. You don't get zoned out. You're not missing sounds, cars honking, someone stomping up behind you, you know, sneaking up on you, trains, anything like that. Like, you actually have your ears to listen. Another awesome safety like device that's easy to wear, and actually most runners do run with something like this, is a watch. So, Garmin, I'm a huge Garmin fan. I love Garmin. They have built-in safety features, and when you can set it up for live tracking so that when you track, obviously your route is tracked, but you can also send an email to people that you trust, like really trust,
I get the email.
with your location, and they can track you live while you're running. You can set this up on your phone. with iPhone. I know it's like Find My iPhone or whatever. Like, you can do that. You can share your location. But what happens if you lose your phone? What are you going to do? Like, how is somebody going to find you? What if you get abducted and, they throw your phone out on the pavement
The first thing they're going to do.
and then, they just take you?
Well,
If
that's a
you
good
don't
point.
have a GPS watch on, like, you won't be able to be tracked. And obviously, like, they can still take your watch and stuff like that, but it's another layer of protection, or at least, another tool that can be used to locate you. I know with Garmin, there's an emergency notification feature. So if you like hold down the button for 5 seconds, it's going to send an emergency alert to your contact of choosing, which is my husband. My husband's always up when I'm running anyways, because if something happens or if I'm gone too long, like, he needs to be aware of that. So he knows that I'm a slow runner. He knows about how long I should be out, which is too fucking long anyways.
And also, like, I'm doing my part too, because I know the dangers that are out there. Because I am up, because I want to be available in case something was to happen. And I'm also I pull up her GPS location. I check in just to see where she is. Um, if I look at it and it hasn't moved, like something's wrong. I don't bother her on her runs for the most part, but if there was a reason for me to check in with her, I will. But for the most part, I'm just on standby in case something was to go wrong.
And that's not like, him checking my location isn't because he doesn't trust me. It's a safety feature. It's just making sure I'm okay, making sure,
Yeah, like
what's the point of having that location, like, on, if he doesn't check it? Because if I'm on my long run right now, right? Like, I'm up to 10 miles on my long run, which takes me 2.5 hours because I'm slow. If I'm on my long run and I start and he doesn't check my location at all until 2.5 hours, but my location stopped moving an hour in,
yeah.
you
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm not sitting there stalking you the whole time, but like, I'll pull it up and like, oh, she's down there by the park. Okay, cool. And like, I already kind of know the route you're taking, and then a little bit later, I may pull it up. Oh, she's just doing laps at the park, and then she's going to keep, or now she's over on this street. Okay, cool. I don't know. If anything was to go wrong, I would already know what direction to head.
Yeah. It sucks having to talk about this stuff, but I think it's important, especially if you're new to running, or maybe you're just getting into running, or maybe you've been running for a really long time and you're just a creature of habit and you've kind of like slacked off on safety precautions. I mean, this information is applicable for everyone. Now, I'm going to kind of move on and I'm going to talk about a sensitive topic. And I'm going to talk about concealed carry, because in the US, we do have concealed carry. We have open carry options, things like that. Again, this is one of those things that it could be used against you. So you have to be comfortable with carrying and willing to use it in the event that you are attacked. If you are not, it's something that could be used against you. So don't carry if you don't feel confident. But in the US, this is more common than other countries. Other countries think that we're absolutely fucking crazy for how we carry guns. And, I'm in so many social media running groups and things like that. And in the US, when a woman posts about, concealed carry options, people in other countries think that we're insane. They're like, that's crazy. Like, I can't imagine having to carry a gun when I run. But that is the truth. Like, we do, and I'm not saying we have to. I'm just saying that many women do feel the need to, because they fear for their safety, but they also don't want to stop living because they fear. You can't live in fear and miss out on everything because of fear. All you can do is be prepared.
Yeah.
So, you know, um, concealed carry is something that occurs in the running community in the US. And this isn't just women, men also concealed carry when they run. So I'm going to talk about some of these options because I have personally tried them out and they work. Okay. I'm not going to give any advice about weapons or anything like that because that is on you and that is a personal thing and you should definitely get training and all that good stuff. So first up, there are brands that make concealed carry wear. So you have athletic clothes like leggings, shorts. They will typically have a very, very thick, like reinforced waistband that will holster your pew of choice. So they are a good option for people who have subcompact models of pews. Again, it's an individual thing. It doesn't work for all models. Some are too heavy. There's a certain weight limit to them, so you need to look at the details of those clothing items before you make a purchase. I personally am a huge fan of Alexo Athletica brand. They have really good concealed carry wear. You can do something like a belly band. Belly bands are a good option. It's kind of like a neoprene band that goes around your belly.
Kind of reminds me of like a waist trainer or something like that. If you're into fitness, if typically you're listening to this, you may know what that is. Those waist trainers and stuff like that, but it's kind of similar, same thing.
Yeah, it's just reinforced and made to holster a weapon. With these belly bands and things like that, you can also put your other gear in it. So if you're carrying pepper spray or, a pocket knife or whatever, like you can put those things in there.
Yeah, I use one, not for running, but because I wear so much athletic wear and athletic shorts and things like that, I couldn't wear my pew on my waistband. So having that option also keeps it concealed, and I like it. But there's many brands and everybody makes one. So
Definitely. A really good holster, in my opinion, for running, the Holster Enigma, it's like a whole setup. So you have your holster, and then it connects to this like setup that goes around your waist and hooks on your leg. Also, it's really customized to your body, and you can make it fit however you want. So if you like to appendix carry or side carry, or you want to carry on the back, like you can modify this to work for your body. It does take a little trial and error, and if you they make sports bands for it now, but I just bought a cloth headband and I cut the ends off of it and I like strung it on my straps so that it didn't rub my skin raw. That is an option too. And again, like this is people are going to feel conflicted about this information. A lot of people don't believe in carrying guns and things like that. And that's fine. Again, this doesn't have to be you, but for those who do wish to carry, again, I'm going to say that you should get training. I don't care if you are, if you have constitutional carry rights in your state. I believe that if you're going to carry, you should know what you're doing. And you should practice. You should go to gun ranges. You should practice. You should be familiar. You should be able to clean your gun. You should be able to load it, unload it safely. All of these things I feel like is important. Also storing it correctly, not leaving it out for young kids, making sure it's locked up. Don't leave, weapons in your vehicle unattended. Never leave a gun in your car. If you feel like you're going to have to leave your gun in your car, I don't even think like if you have a safe in your car, like that should be a last option. But if you're going to leave it, just leave it at home.
yeah.
beyond carrying a weapon, you can also take like self-defense classes. There's plenty of classes out there, and many of them, specifically for women, so that women feel comfortable, like they're in a comfortable environment to practice self-defense. I was in the military. I worked for a prison. I've had to do self-defense classes. I've had to train with weapons. I feel confident with that stuff, but that's not always everyone's story.
Yeah.
So these are all just, again, suggestions. So, don't get all freaked out and everything.
I'm just giving you information that pertains to you. Cool. If not, leave it alone.
So we've talked about tools and, things that you can carry that can help you be safer, more visible, in the event that somebody attacks you or maybe a dog runs up on you, whatever. But what are some things that you can do to be safer? You can run with a friend. Safety in numbers, right? You run with more friends, you're probably even less likely to be a target. Typically when people are out looking for somebody to attack, like they don't look for hard groups. They're looking for the straggler. They're looking for the person that's an easy target. So, make yourself a not easy target. Number 2, you can run with your dog, right? Now, before you go and hook your dog up and just take him running, just know that your dogs have to train up the same way that you do. And if you have a puppy, that puppy is not supposed to run for the first 2 years. I want to speak on this because it's for dog safety as well, right? So like your dog's hips and stuff are not fully developed until they're 2 years old. Taking a puppy out and running with them, it's not good for them. So when you run with your dog, it can be a deterrent because people typically don't want to take the chance of getting attacked by a dog. And some dogs look scary.
Yeah. Our dogs look scary.
Our dogs are vicious.
Yeah. Straight killers.
So, your dog can be a deterrent for people who may wish you harm. That's not always the case, though. I mean, some people will still try, but at least you have like a layer there, right? Something that I think more people need to do more of is change up their routes, right? So some people run the same routes every single weekend at the same exact times, and that makes you predictable.
Yeah.
One of the things that was drilled into my head in the military was never take the same routes. When you come to work, take a different route. Like, don't take the same route, because in the military, like, you could be target just for being in the military, for terrorists, people that want information, whatever.
Well, the FBI is listening to our podcast now.
Yeah. So, change up your routes. Don't be predictable. Don't go at the exact same times. You can run in the same areas without running the same exact route.
Yeah, I mean, run in familiar places, but the route, you can change the route.
Yeah, change up the route so it's not predictable. Next up would be watching out for distracted drivers. Don't be a distracted runner. I can't tell you how many people are completely oblivious to what goes on around them. People don't pay attention. They have no peripheral vision. They're so zeroed in on their phones or whatever. Like, they're not paying attention. They have no like situational awareness.
Yeah. I don't know what you want to call it, culture now is, I mean, it's everything about your phone. So nothing else in the world matters except your phone. Doesn't matter if you're driving and doing all these things. People are posting on TikTok, making reels, going live. The last thing they're doing is paying attention to their surroundings. So
Yeah.
look out for them.
But with drivers especially, again, it's just one of those things, like drivers are not paying attention.
Intoxicated too.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you go early in the morning.
Early in the morning, the bar closed at 3.
Yep. So you got drunk drivers out there. You have people just, again, not paying attention, and you're not paying attention.
Well,
if you're not aware of what's going on around you, you have big headphones on, or maybe you're looking down at your phone while you're running, which I don't know how y'all do that. But you just have to be aware of what's going on around you, and especially for traffic.
yeah.
Next up, you're going to want to be aware of wildlife. Or not wildlife. It could be dogs, right?
Well, that's wildlife. I mean, some of these dogs are pretty wild.
I know one of my fears as a runner is being attacked by a dog because people don't leash their dogs, right?
Mm.
Or maybe a dog gets out. It happens. Our dogs get out.
Or say you're running around one of these little ponds or lakes, there are snakes in that lake.
Oh, fuck that.
And you go just jogging by, and he's like, "Oh, look at this little leg." Arr.
Oh, that's okay. Because, actually, while we're on this topic, my running partner, Kathy.
What happened?
So,
she likes snakes?
No, she hates snakes. So we were running on a path last weekend. Not this weekend, last weekend. And we run by this tree, and something runs under the tree. Kathy literally pushed me in the direction of the noise. And she was just so willing to sacrifice me.
Wow.
I'm like ready to fight for us. And she's like, bye.
Yeah. She's like that person's like, when you're like running from a bear or something, like, they just got to outrun your friend.
It was a chipmunk, by the way.
Yeah. She's not going to outrun the bear. She's just going to outrun her buddy and trip him.
So, Kathy, if you're listening to this, I love you. But next time.
Kind of
You're on your own. I'm fucking throwing your ass towards the noise. But wildlife, it doesn't just pertain to like dogs, right? If you live in an area that's maybe not as suburban, more rural, you have things like coyotes, mountain lions, bears,
if it breathes, it can bite. So.
Yeah, whatever. If you're in Alaska, there's moose.
Yeah. I mean, also there's bees. If you're allergic to bees, you should be running with an EpiPen on you. Like things like that, like being prepared.
Yeah.
For the worst that could happen. I mean,
but you also should, while we're on the topic of the EpiPen, if you have medical conditions that could be life-threatening, you should have a medical band on your wrist that has your information or whatever. Like if you're like, allergic to whatever, EpiPen in pocket or something, like some type of information that says that.
A lot of times if you come across somebody that has the bright, like one of those tags, the first thing is if they see an allergy, they're going to immediately check the person's pockets and stuff for that EpiPen for administration. So
definitely
first responder stuff.
Yeah, something to keep in mind. And of course, like just be aware. Don't be distracted. We kind of talked on this when we're talking about distracted drivers. But you have to be aware as well. You have to not be distracted. This is you and your safety, and you have to take precautions to be ready for it, right? I know that to some people listening to this, they're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. It's excessive. It's ridiculous, but it's not. Women go missing running all the time. And, it doesn't always get reported like in the news. Not every case makes it to national headlines. Some stuff just stays local. But if you look up, woman runner, like abducted, like you're going to see a whole fuck ton of names and instances where this happened. And most of the time it doesn't end well.
In many cases with any violent and crimes, they don't make the news. They don't even make the local news. When I worked in the field, I would come to scenes all the time and think that it would make the news, but no, it wouldn't. There's that much crime out there. They're not going nothing. They can't put everything on the news, and sometimes they don't want everyone to know. A lot of times they don't want people to know.
Well, a lot of news, they just want people to know what fits their agenda or whatever.
Right. And like the shock and awe,
Yeah.
we'll get more of a reaction from. Anyway,
Yeah.
just in short, not everything makes the news. A lot of times there's way more crime than you're aware of in the story.
Yep. So, safety as a runner in the US, to other countries, again, it's going to seem crazy and ridiculous, but it's our reality. It is something that we have to worry about just existing as a woman. It doesn't even have to necessarily be when running, which is a whole nother topic. But, going to the grocery store, going to the bank, going to Target with your kids, like as a woman, you need to be aware of your surroundings.
Yes. So just on that note, this morning we went to the grocery store at 6:00 in the morning getting some groceries, and Brittany was looking at some canned something, maybe spicy. I don't even know what it was. And I walked up behind her, just walked up normally, and put my arm like on her side, but she didn't see me approach, and because I had left the cart at the end, and she turned around in shock because she thought I was a stranger. Like she was genuinely like, "Who the f are you?" Look, and I was like, "Whoa, what did I do?" She's like, "You do not do that. You do not do that." And I was like, "I didn't know I did anything. Like I was just, I love you." Just trying to say that.
Well, because it happens, right?
I know.
And
That's why the point I was making is like,
and it sucks because we hear about stuff like that all the time. I mean, you hear about women putting their kids or putting their groceries in the car and a kid gets kidnapped from the grocery cart or something. Like,
yep.
like I'm always making sure my kids get in the car. Like I don't get in the car until my kid is in the car. Like you have to be aware of everything. Like, I don't want you walking away from me. Like, no, you can't go to the toy aisle by yourself. Like none of that. Like, we're gonna walk in together, stay next to me. You don't have to hold my hand, but I want you to be in my sight.
Yeah. The world's scary.
It is scary, and it sucks that that's the way that it is. But I think as individuals, as adults, as parents, as moms, dads, just being more aware. Stop having your face in your phone all the time and just paying attention to your surroundings. I think a lot of things like that happen because of the obliviousness, right? And people like that want to hurt somebody, they look at that stuff. They're looking at what that person is doing, and they're gonna pick up like if that person's going to be a challenge or if they're just going to be an easy target or whatever. Like sometimes it's planned, sometimes it's not.
Yeah. I mean, they may see and that they're observing and you're running, and then all of a sudden you slow down and start walking because you're tired. They visibly see you're tired. Well, this person's going to be less of a fight. This person's already tired. Be aware of these things. Like, a predator looks for prey.
Yeah.
They're going to try to find you in the most vulnerable state they can.
Exactly.
So
all things to think about, not to scare you. You should definitely not.
I think you should have a healthy fear.
You should have a healthy fear, but you shouldn't be so afraid that you don't live your life.
No, but the realization, to be prepared for if anything was to or could happen.
Yeah.
With knowledge comes power, and prep comes power. So,
Yeah. So we hope that if you're a runner, this helps you. Even if you're a male runner, again, none of this stuff doesn't, like, you're not completely excluded from this. I'm a female runner, so I'm going to speak to female runners. I don't know what a male runner thinks about when they're running. I would imagine that, like, the rest of the day, they're like, huh, I wonder if Batman does this. Like, I would imagine that that's how the thoughts are running too. But
I don't run like you run, but I remember back when I ran for sports and stuff and like racing, it's like, all right, if I don't make it to this tree before this car, then I'm gonna die. Like it's just like stupid things that I would go through my head. So I'm like racing a car going down the road. It made no sense.
Anyways, all right, y'all. This is a good episode. Again, I know it's going to be controversial because of the whole concealed carry bit. But I hope that even if you don't agree with that, you can still, just fast forward through that part and listen to the rest of it, because all of this information is helpful, whether you want to accept it or not.
That's right.
So, I will be doing a blog post for this podcast. It will link some of my gear that I use, my vest, things like that. I am an Amazon associate, so of course, like if you order, I do get a small commission on qualified orders. But I want to share the things that I use, and hopefully, it'll help you. Of course, you can pick and choose. And of course, like the blog, we haven't really talked about this, but we now have a blog.
The blog.
So we will be
Phoenix Files.
turning podcasts into blog posts. Usually those will post the next day after the episode release. So keep that in mind. And if you need coaching, help, or anything like that, keep us in mind also. You can check us out. You can see the blog, the podcast, shop supplements, and look at our coaching options at www.transformwithphoenix.com. And that's all we got. So
I'm James.
until next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Macros, Mindset, and Muscles. Until next time,
I'm James.
I'm Brittany. We're out.